Alright, so I'm currently trying to platinum every single type of EA game that there is out there, and if I can't do it before the channel hits 1 million subscribers, then my punishment is I have to platinum Fortnite, one of the longest, hardest, and most grindy games of all time. So make sure to drop a like and subscribe. Anyways, in today's video, I chose to platinum College Football 25, the newest iteration in college football games, and the first in many, many years since EA stopped producing them for God knows what reason. But this is also the first sports game I've ever done on the channel, and yeah, it went splendid. But College Football 25 has only 16 trophies, including the platinum. It took me 10 hours to complete, and it really made me feel like a little bitch with how bad I was at this game. So stage 1 is to just chase down trophies inside of the offline play now game mode, which is just the generic mode of college football, where you choose any two teams to face up against each other. You can alter the game's time, speed, flow, difficulty, basically anything you'd ever want. And I was playing with some altered settings to make this stage easier because it's sort of a boring part of this game compared to the online trophies, which are much more interesting in my opinion. However, the first goal I chased down was to just rush and pass for 200 yards with the QB, who is the person you play as for the majority of this game, except for when on defense or when your running back and receivers get the ball. And before getting those stats, however, since they are quite large, I instead got a trophy from just having a big play consisting of over an 80-yard passing touchdown. And I actually did this on my second play of my entire college football career. We don't talk about the first one, it simply does not matter. But this was also done very easy because I am playing on freshman difficulty and as Alabama against Kennesaw State, a school that sounds so fake it might just be out of a Key and Peele sketch. But here's that trophy once I did score the touchdown. I then got another trophy within this mode on Kennesaw State's first offensive drive because their idiot QB threw an interception right away. And I mean that literally, this was their very first play, a pick 6. If I was the Kennesaw State quarterback, I think I might have just kicked the chair out from beneath myself right away and caught the plane back to our private school, where the only thing private is the meth lab. Anyways, once I got the ball back after stopping them on downs again, I decided to try and draw ourselves back as far as possible so we could get the most yards on each drive. I know, wow, It's Illusion, you're so smart. What college did you go to? Well, I actually went to Harvard, Yale, and the Detroit Community College at the same time, but I don't mean to brag, obviously, that would be out of bad taste. Not all of us can be a genius, you know? So with this strategy of elongating drives like I tried to elongate my it really did yield good results. I also did get a safety on Kennesaw State, and this is still the first quarter. Unironically, this is exactly how I would expect a game between Alabama and the Owls off Kennesaw State to go. And that's not even a joke, it's just the truth. Shout out to the 20 yards of play stat we have right now. We are completely butt-fucking these grown men on this field. Anyways, at this point, I had well over 200 yards in passing. The 90-yard bombs really did help that stat, but I still needed 200 rushing, so I just began to scramble and score. Also, I had a 96-yard quarterback option rushing touchdown, which is a hilarious play to score a touchdown on. If you don't know what an option play is, it's literally when you stare down one defender and if he bites towards the running back, you just pull the ball and beat him to get a good gain of yards. But it's almost never a touchdown, especially not of 96 yards for that matter. However, once I did score, I got the trophy and also another one called breakaway speed for a 50+ rushing yard touchdown. And that was unfortunately all of the easy trophies in this play now mode completed, with the only one remaining being called unbelievable finish. And it's from winning a rivalry football game on the last play of the game, hence it being unbelievable, or scripted if you ask me. And I chose to do this with Notre Dame and Navy. Now this wasn't the suggested team from the trophy guide, but in my personal life, I'm a pretty massive Notre Dame fan in college sports, and I felt as if it was just right that I did this for myself. But it would turn out that I am absolutely horrible at planning out quarters with only 1 minute in each of them, and I basically just choked at the end like 5 times in a row. The Navy coach's AI was also pissing me off because due to each quarter being only a minute long, at the end he would just spam timeouts. So I would get myself in position and then I would have to get another first down after already being on the goal line, which basically ruined it. But my biggest problem, especially when first playing this game, is I just did not know what plays to run that are effective or how to really pass the ball without it getting picked off or just dropping it every time. So with that lack of knowledge I had, I instead decided to just start running it with the Notre Dame QB, Riley Leonard.
I love you, bitch.
And if any of you watched college football in this last year's season, this is basically what he did in every game of theirs, and it almost won them the championship. If we just ignore the other 3 quarters of that final game. Tragedy. So I did exactly that same strategy, but on my final drive, and I just ran it in with him as time expired, luckily making it across the goal line, and the trophy then popped after the team celebrated. And I also got another trophy from just finishing a match of Play Now because I had just been backing out of games previously. Anyways, I would then begin the second stage of this game's platinum called Stage 2, Ultimate Team. team. Now, from what I understand, this is the very pay-to-win game mode, or at least the in-game currency enhanced game mode. At least I think that's what it is. I honestly have little idea what this game mode is because I, again, do not play EA Sports games, and I really haven't ever. But the trophies in this mode are actually very, very easy. That is for almost all of them. And you get one immediately after just launching the mode called It All Starts Here, so there's that. But then, really, the only trophy that's gotten within this mode exactly is called Challenge Accepted. And it's just from doing 10 challenges in the game's training sort of area. Now, these challenges are not hard at all, and I did them all without issues. They are also the kind of tutorial ones, so I both needed these to be honest, and was also grateful for the practice. Because I am, again, not good at this game. I still don't even know what the button is for tackle, and I platinumed the game for f***'s sake. But long story short, I did just 10 challenges, and they were all in the fundamental group between passing and rushing. Once the 10th one was completed, I then got the trophy pop. So the final trophy in this stage of Ultimate Team is actually called From the Community, and it's gotten by playing a game with any custom school from the download center. And both the methods from which I saw in the trophy guide did not work for me, so I had to do a little researching and investigating. Ultimately, I found out that you just have to download a custom school from the download center, then load up the Dynasty mode and import the custom team into your career, select it, go through the preseason until week 1 where there is a game, load into the game, and the trophy should pop. I have no idea why it doesn't work in the other game modes. It's honestly quite weird. But College Football 25 is an EA game, so this is kind of what we have to learn to expect, I suppose. Anyways, that was it for Stage 2, so I then began Stage 3, Road to the College Football Playoff. And this is the online required stage because every trophy in here requires you to have online connection and go against real people. I know, social interaction, it's quite horrifying. But you're supposed to get a trophy upon just entering the mode, however, I didn't, so that's a bit odd. But I found my first opponent a short while later, and it was against a person named The Reaper, and then numerous numbers following it. A true gamer tag if I've ever seen one. Now I'm just gonna spoil this before we get into it. I suck at this game, and it really got exposed here when playing against real people. So I'm just gonna give quick summaries of each game and what led to my downfall. To all of you out there who were praying for it, you got your wish, motherfucker. But basically, in my first online game, I threw an interception immediately on my first offensive drive. The Reaper then scored on me almost right away after that. I went 4 and out, and I tried to do a fake punt, and it was about as successful as when I tried to shit last night after eating a bunch of yogurt. I then got scored on again, which was awesome. But when I had the ball back in my gloriously talented hands, it was 4th and inches. Some would have suggested just doing a QB dive, but instead I chose to pass it and I threw an interception. Might have been my fault on that one, but I rage quit the game and then relaunched it. Upon re-entering the online mode, I did get that trophy I mentioned. Should have popped, so that's cool, I guess. But I should also mention the goal of this mode before we continue because I kind of forgot to. Essentially, in the Road to the College Football Playoff mode, you play 10 matches in a series and you have to win as many as possible to get the highest rank available. There's a total of 7 ranks and you start as a recruit. Now, the only rank we have to get to is freshman, so if you just win 3 matches, you'll be high enough and get the quote-unquote hard trophy for this mode. Now, there is one more trophy in this mode, and it's from beating an opponent of higher tier, but that's not really hard, and I was playing almost all of my games as 1 tier below anyways, just to get that trophy for your information. So the next dude I faced up against was some random user on PlayStation, and on my second pass of the game, I threw a pick 6. I then went 4 and out again, but I somehow managed to stop him on downs and get good field position on my following drive. However, that wouldn't matter for because I again threw another pick. I don't know when I decided to just play the run game, but I wish I did sooner for the love of baby Jesus. He would then go on to score 2 more touchdowns on me, and ultimately after giving it up on downs again from failing to convert on 4th, I just quit once more because I am not winning this one. And by the way, every time you leave the game, it just counts that as a loss for you. No penalties happen, however, so you can just back out, unlike other competitive games that punish you with a timeout. So rude. 15,000 likes for a Rainbow Plat video, and I'll do it. You're not gonna hit it. You're not gonna hit it. My next match was then against a guy named Big Al or Big Ale. I think I had a stroke trying to understand what this name meant, and I read it like 45 times. But I actually ended up doing decent against him, and I got a pick 6 almost right away, which was a great confidence boost to myself after getting used 2 games in a row like a human fleshlight on the field. However, once I stopped him and got the ball again, I would end up choking in the red zone, and I was very upset. But it's to be expected since I suck at this game. Fast forward to the end of the 3rd quarter, and I was still winning, but that would all come to an end when I threw a devastating pick 6. And actually make that 2 back-to-back pick 6s for that matter. But I did clap back and scored, kicked the PAT, and I tied it up. However, he would then just march down the field and score with only 20 seconds left, and I rage quit again. Might have just fumbled that one, not gonna lie. I then got scored on immediately in my following match and I rage quit right away, but I would then get matched up against some guy who had TTV in his name in the big 2025. That's insane, I'm not gonna lie. We do not care. But he scored on me, I scored on him, he kicked a field goal so I was down, but I clapped back with another touchdown, and then unfortunately he scored one also, and he dragged out the time, bleeding into another L for myself. I'm gonna jump off a building, but then I began to play as Notre Dame one more time, and I recalled that running QB strategy that I used in Play Now, and I began to implement it into my online matches, which not only worked in getting me a lot more yards, but it also got me a big boost in time of possession. And if you don't know what that is, it's how much time you have the ball, and I just bled that damn clock out. I scored a touchdown, but also made my opponent very angry with how much patience is required to face off against Its Ilusion using a running play scheme. And I had the ball for the majority of the first half, and ultimately the dude just left giving me the dub. I'm so happy that I made Mad Dog 202 my little bitch. If you see this Mad Dog, which you probably won't, you're a little bitch.
Hey, disconnected.
That also gave me the under-leveled tier trophy as well, just so you all know. Anyways, my next match was very uneventful until the dude went up by 14 and picked me off for the 4th time in one game, so I rage quit. I then got dominated by a guy and could tell right away he had some hours invested in college football 25, which is kind of sad to be honest, so I let him live in sorrow alone. I'm the winner even though it may not look like a motherfucker. I then got scored on by a guy playing as Penn State, and if you're a Penn State fan, I have no respect for you. Shout out to the allegations, which are confirmed. But I also did turn it over in my own red zone after already being scored on, so I left, again. Also, huge shout out to EA Play for giving me this amazing deal that is promoted every single time I go to the home screen of College Football 25. Who wouldn't want to drop $135 on in-game virtual currency, am I right? It's actually so funny now that I think about it. What fucking dumbass is spending $135 on in-game football money for a game that gets remade every single year? God, it's no wonder EA is a multi-billion-dollar company. This is really all it takes, huh? Anyways, I actually just backed out of the remaining games I had in that season because I wasn't going to win 3, so I just wanted to get a good reset and then give it a really good try with all the learning lessons I've acquired up to this point in my college football playoff career. So I restarted, and on my first new matchup I was playing as Texas Tech, which is the best tier 3 team, going up against tier 2 teams. And I matched with someone named Minimum Calorie 4. What a creative name, I can't lie, never heard that before. But I also found this play that Texas Tech can run, which is literally just a pitch to the outside, and if the defense has no edge players, you can pretty much get a first down and much more every single time. So I just abused it over and over. I also played the clock to piss off the opponent as much as possible, but when I say I abused that play, I mean like Bonnie Blue levels of being used. Societal shame almost. But upon the second half starting, our pal Calorie 4, the minimum, ended up leaving. I have won. I am better. I am the best even. We're just gonna ignore the fact that I got bent over by Arkansas right after. It's purely a fluke with the indoor stadium atmosphere. My next match was in against Texas A&M, another very good school. But it was a bit of a shootout in the beginning, and I'm not sure why the guy left the game, but if it was because he threw one pick, then I understand. I've been there before, brother. So that's now 2 wins, and I only need 1 more for the trophy I've been after for the last 3 hours of playtime. Yes, that's how long these games last. Very long, my favorite. And I actually got it on my game after my next game, playing against Kansas. And the final score ended with 7-0, so it was an incredibly boring game. I also tried my best to run the clock as much as possible, so I don't understand why this guy didn't just leave, but it did kind of come down to the ending and I almost choked. However, I swallowed, baby, and we won. I then just force lost the remaining games because I was at the rating I needed, and once the season did come to an end, I got the freshman rank and the trophy popped. Honestly though, this is nothing to be proud of. This is literally the rank above the free one. I basically just got given a participation medal, but I still have a medal and you don't. So that's stage 3 now finished, and I then began stage 4, which is the final stage called the Road to Glory / Dynasty Sim stage. And this is because all the trophies gotten here can be, or almost can be, just simulated in the Dynasty and Road to Glory mode. The first 2 are the only real ones that can, however, from my experience. And you can just choose Ohio State or any top tier team and sim to the playoffs, and you'll likely get in for this trophy to pop, which is exactly what I did. However, winning the championship did take me a few retries of the sim for it to work, but you can also just drop a save point before the match and then redo it over and over for different outcomes until it does pop, which is what I did do, and I got it right here. So the final trophy of this game is called Heisman Moment. Now this is said to be possible by simulating itself, but I found that to be near impossible to do, and I spent a good 2 hours trying it that way with no success. So I instead began to actually play Road to Glory in depth, and it's actually kind of a fun mode. But on my second season as Georgia's starting QB with some skin in the game and knowledge of how the mode functioned fully, I was able to get Heisman. And to ensure you do get Heisman, you just want to stat stat pad a bunch of games trying to get over 500 yards passing and a good completion rate with little to no interceptions. And nearing the end of the season, make sure to drop some saves in case the simulating of the game drops your Heisman rating. This did happen to me on the final game and I got second, so I just reloaded the save, played out the final game with my best attempt at stat padding, ultimately succeeding, and the trophy popped once the Heisman trophy was awarded to myself, and the Platinum trophy also did pop along with it. So that was the College Football 25 Platinum Trophy experience. Overall, pretty fun game. I don't personally love sport games despite being a huge sport fan myself. Something about playing them just doesn't scratch that same itch I have when I watch them on TV, but still a decently fun game and an easy platinum. Rating college football out of 10, I'll probably give it a 7. Nothing too crazy. Also, the graphics in this game suck despite it being remade 34 times by EA, which is almost laughable if not for being so fucking sad. I'm gonna shit myself.